Hi, welcome to an edition of Cracks in the Cloister. I thought today I would share a little bit about myself, a crack in the cloister of the monastery, and sort of explain the tradition in monasteries of feast days. Now, a lot of people I think are common with the idea of a birthday, right? You celebrate the day of your birth. It's pretty common in the US. But in monasteries, because we often have a lot of people that might have the same birthday, but we often don't have a lot of people that have the same name day or the same patron saint. Because even if you have two, for example, Jameses or Johns, there's a lot of saints with those names. We tend to celebrate the feast day, the saint in which the monk or the nun takes the religious name after. Now, not all monks or nuns take a religious name. Some keep their own, what we call baptismal name, the name their parents give them. But many have the option to take a new name when they make entry into the novitiate. And I thought tell a little bit about my saint, but also why or how I went from being Michael to being Demetrius. Now, I bring this up because on today, the day we see this video, we have the feast day of Saint Demetrius. Saint Demetrius is the patron who I have associated with my name. But that's not the saint I took it after. I actually took my name after a servant of God, Demetrius Galitzin. And we'll talk about him in a little bit. But let's get to the point of how I ended up with the name Demetrius. And a lot of it deals with this guy right there. This is our late abbot, Abbot Giles Hayes. So, as I said, we often take a new name. You don't have to, but we often do, because it avoids confusion. If there's only one monk in a monastery with a given name, it makes it a lot easier to know who you're talking about and who you're asking for help, etc. When I was a novice, Abbot Giles looked at me and he goes, so what name do you think you'll take? And traditionally you submit 3. Well, I looked at him and I went, part of me wants to keep my mom happy and keep Michael. And he looked at me with caring eyes and goes, but we already have a Michael. He didn't tell me I couldn't keep Michael. In fact, he can't. Since the Second Vatican Council, the baptismal name has been a place where you may always retain. But in his polite way, he strongly encouraged me to pick something else. So I told him, part of me then is also thinking of doing Germain. He goes, after Germain Lieb. I was like, yes. He married my parents. He was a family friend. Father Germain Lieb was a monk of St. Vincent's Archabbey in Pennsylvania, and he had worked as a parish priest near me for years and years. And he was a friend of our family. Abbot Giles then looks at me and goes, our Father Germain just passed away. So, option 2 was likewise frowned upon. And so then I went, the other name I'm thinking is Demetrius. He goes, after Demetrius Dumb, that'll be great. So many of our guys had him as a scripture professor. They loved him. That'll be perfect. I went, no. Not after Demetrius Dumb, but after Demetrius Galitzin, the person that Demetrius Dumb likewise took his name after. Abbot Giles went, that's fine. It's good. And Demetrius became my name. But that raises the question, why would I take my name after Demetrius Galitzin? Well, there's 2 reasons. One is a family connection. So, on both sides of my family, I have a connection to this man who is currently a servant of God, meaning the opening stages of his cause for canonization to become a formally pronounced saint are in the process. But being that he is not a formally pronounced saint, he cannot be my saint day, my feast day. He doesn't have a feast day. So we use Saint Demetrius. But getting back to the family history. On my mother's side of the family, one of my direct ancestors was John Weakland. We see here depicted in a stained glass window from one of our local churches. Father Demetrius was a parish priest, but he was also a Russian prince. And he was very well educated and very well spoken, to the point where some of his tongue-in-cheek caused problems with local parishioners. Not of his, but of other neighboring faiths. And some came to attack him one day. My ancestor, John Weakland, on my mother's side, grabbed a fence post, and as we see here depicted, came to defend him. The legend is too, then, that when his body was moved, his right arm, the arm he used to defend Father Gallitzin, was incorrupt and was not damaged by decay. John Weakland, also according to local legend, was somewhat of a bruiser, a manly man type. We see in the bottom of this stained glass window his arm raised against a wolf and a bear, because according to local legend, he likewise fought a wolf and a bear with nothing but his bare hands. The other reason I took Father Demetrius' name was from a family connection, is with my mother, not my mother, my father. On my father's side, my father's mother, so my grandmother, her mother, several grades back, was an orphan that Father Demetrius took in, raised, cared for, and made sure that she had received an appropriate education and was married to a respectable young man. So, in a way, Demetrius Gallitzin is a nice intersection of my family. One of my ancestors defended him, and another was defended by him. And so I thought that this would be a very good connection to make, a very good patron to have, particularly as his cause for canonization is open. Likewise, being that his cause for canonization is open, I thought that by taking his name as Demetrius, it would give me a way to explain who he was, what he did, and why he's important. And hopefully, God willing, one day, spread his word enough so that people pray to him, and that the cause for his canonization is successful. I will link in the description of this video a link to a video I produced years ago as part of a program at Seton Hall, which talks a little bit more about the history of Father Demetrius and how he came to the United States, and more importantly, how he became the first priest to go from tonsure, the first minor order where they cut your hair, to ordination in the United States under then Bishop John Carroll of Baltimore. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed the video. God bless.